Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our little piece of heaven here on Spotify or Amazon Prime,
Amazon
YouTube,
Prime.
whatever the hell you're listening to us from. This is episode 97, and today we're going to live true to our desires of a podcast, which is to be a variety podcast, and we're going to bring you lots of different topics. And there will be no order to this podcast. So those of you that like an order, this might not be for you. Stick around. Stay tuned.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Manny and Shawn Experience podcast edition. My name is Manny.
Wow, you really went up the levels there. My name is Shawn.
I'm just testing the microphones.
You're testing me. Like my patience has been tested for the last 30 minutes. Anyway.
Yeah, we had some tech issues today, and I'm techie, but I give up quick. So I said, turn off the laptop, take out the mics from the USB drive, and that's as much as that was my contribution. But welcome back to another episode. We hope you enjoyed episode 96 with Dave from Tampa Bay Gay, and we hope you've given them a follow and a subscribe on their YouTube, especially if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community, because he has amazing resources and keeps you up to date in what's going on, at least in our neck of the woods.
Yeah, it was a great interview. Thanks again today for coming on the show. Learned a lot about him and his resources and, you know, how we're just trying to build a community. Hence the name of the episode. But yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing super fantastic. We are already in April.
I know.
February felt like it never ended, but here we are now, April already. Swiftly moving to half of the year, almost.
It feels like it's been 2 years the way that things have been going, but you know.
Yeah, I've been fine. Just living life. I got promoted at work.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great. I am. No, seriously, it is great. It's just finding a balance of how to balance both jobs now. Because I still advise students, just a little bit less, but finding a good balance. And I think that'll take a little time.
It will. I mean, whenever you do something new or switch into a new role, it's always going to take you a minute to get your bearings, figure out with a workflow, figure out something that works for you. But you'll get there.
Yeah. And, you know, I've been here before. I've created a new role in previous jobs. So I am up to the challenge. I'm also going back to school, which I said here on this podcast I would never do.
You're doing a lot this year.
But, yeah. I'm going to the University of Central Florida. Go Knights.
Ooh, those are your rivals.
It is, because I'm a USF grad. But anyways, how are you? This isn't the Manny show.
I'm doing well. I have recently made a change to my work schedule, so I go in a bit early, but I get off earlier. Forced. I wasn't forced.
He was forced to go in the office more days.
I mean that, yeah. I was forced to do that, which still not happy about. But you know, we need a job, so here we are. But yeah, I'm relatively fine, I guess is the best way I can put it. Relatively fine.
Wonderful. Shall we jump into our segment?
The mixtape, yes.
Let's go.
You're in the mix.
Well, here we are in the mixtape. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's no video today, so if you're looking for it, you know, 6 minutes into this, there's not a There's no video this week.
There's no video because can't be arsed.
Can't be arsed to do a video this week. And, it is what it is. We're just going to talk about a lot of things. There's a lot of things happening in this world, in this country, in this state, in this city. And, sometimes we try to be a little PG in our approach. But today it's just like, if nobody else gives a fuck, why should we give a fuck?
True. Do you want to go first? What is your topic this week?
I was just going to feed off of your topics, quite honestly.
Well, my topics are all rage-inducing for me.
They're all what? Rage-inducing. Well, I think you lost a lot of rage while you were setting up this podcast for us.
I mean, if anything, I think it added to my rage. But
well, yeah, that's not healthy. Do you want to talk about it?
I don't. I mean, it's frustrating, right? Because we've been doing this podcast for so long. Our equipment is our equipment. The programs update and change periodically. And when you do things the same way, you expect them to act the same way. But then when they do something different or they're not working, then it's very frustrating to try to figure out what is not working. And so I've done that.
I get it.
I have now figured it out. If that problem ever arises again, I know the first thing to look for. So I'm happy about that. It's just frustrating in the process.
Understood. Yeah. Well, what is your actual first topic for today?
Look, you the one told me to talk about the rage.
I'm not a therapist.
I'm not a therapist.
I have a psychology minor.
Okay, so let's just get to the knickers of it.
Just rip the Band-Aid.
So I'm gonna talk about this administration and all of the follies that we've had, and how trash it's been, and how people are. I mean, we're still divided as a country. I don't foresee that changing anytime soon.
I don't see where our country will ever unite.
Well, there's all this talk about this potentially either becoming a sort of civil war.
The New Age Civil War.
Oh, what?
The New Age Civil War.
A new age civil
There's
war.
no guns exchanged.
I mean, I'm not saying there won't be violence because I can't say that won't happen. And I hope it doesn't come to that. But I can see
just need the United Kingdom to open up its borders to refugees from America.
Girl, the way this administration is treating the rest of the world, I can see them banning Americans from ever coming into their country.
Well, that's not good.
It's not.
So, should I take the Spain option or the Portugal option?
Whichever one's going to get you there quickest.
Spain gets me 2 years. So
Okay.
Spain it is.
So Spain it is.
I have to quit my job and live off my savings.
I guess the latest thing is tariffs. Not the latest thing, but since we had
Tariffs are good.
quote unquote Liberation Day last week, where 47 put tariffs on every country. Yes, he called it Liberation Day. Where they coined the phrase "Make America Wealthy Again," which I'm tired. So Trump put tariffs on a number of countries.
Everybody.
Her.
Penguins got tariffs on them.
Everybody got tariffs.
The Penguins are aligning their army now.
And the thing is that they supposedly used this equation to come up with the percentages, which later we found out was total bullshit. They just put a bunch of Greek letters.
That's why they don't want us to know algebra anymore.
Because we don't need it.
Well, we don't need it, but then they
can use it. And you can't figure it out.
You'd be like, well, I just failed algebra, so I guess they're right.
He has seemingly started a trade war with the entire world. And they put reciprocal on it, meaning, I mean, we know what reciprocal means, to give and to get. And his argument is that other countries have put tariffs on the United States, and the United States has not put tariffs on these countries, which is true in some instances, but it's mostly China. And the tariffs have been relatively low. And now that he has jacked up the price on everything in every country, anything that it gets imported into the United States is going to cost the American consumer way more money. And a lot of y'all voted for this man because you thought he would be good for the economy. Meanwhile, the stock market has crashed day over day over day.
Well, I did hear somebody very smart say.
Who was they?
I don't remember their name.
Okay.
But they had mentioned that we really don't need to look to the stock market as an indicator of success.
Why? Because y'all do that all the time.
Why? I don't know why she said that, but she said that.
They say a lot of things.
Also, just want to throw this out there in case nobody knew. You don't need that new phone. You don't need that new refrigerator.
Yeah, that's
you
what
don't need that new microwave.
they are using
You
to
don't
defend
need
us.
to buy a house. You don't need to buy a car.
You just want those things. And you need not to want those things.
I mean, most people aren't going to go out and buy a new fucking car until they need a car. So the need is not so much a want
I'm gonna put a
as
pin
they're
in that.
trying to. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's the defense force that MAGA people are using, is that you don't need these things.
You want to hear the latest one I just read?
What is it?
Trump urges U.S. to, quote, hang tough as tariffs come into effect.
My thing with hanging tough, sir, is that a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Some people have already been laid off. I want to say Volkswagen, one of those automotive companies, laid off about 900 employees already, just in preparation for the tariffs, because a lot of the automotive industry gets their parts from where? Surprise, surprise, overseas. So it is going to cost them more money to import parts to make cars or fix cars, and a lot of that is going to be passed on to the customer. And so in the meantime, so that we have some reserves of money to spend on said tariffs, we have to let go of some of our workforce, which means that those people are now out of a job, and those people can't buy the things that they were buying before.
But you don't need a car.
No, we do need a car, because this country refuses to do anything about public transportation. Besides, here's a bus, here's a Uber. Good luck. Now, I know there are other cities out here that have train systems, and that's great. Florida is not one of those places. You either catch a bus.
I'd say a lot of states aren't.
No, a lot of states aren't. You're right. So you need a car here, whether she is, 10 years old or she's brand new. You need a car. I think that's another thing that is going to happen. Is used cars are going to raise in value again, because people aren't going to be able to afford a new car. You're going to go to used cars. But anyway, got kind of off track there. Just say that to say that most of the economic people that have been on anywhere from Fox News to CNBC have said that this is terrible for America. And this hold tough or hold tight or whatever the fuck he said, people are going to be losing their jobs, and people aren't going to be able to spend money, and therefore the economy does what?
It goes into a recession.
We go into a recession. I thought the whole reason people voted for you was because you're Mr. Smarty Pants on the economy. Telling companies that they should start making their products or building their products here in America when they get a majority of their labor or their parts out of this country is a very bold choice. There's no way that a company can build a factory here in America in a month. They can't do it in 6 months. You can't just switch your whole operations from an international thing to right here in the US in order to make prices cheaper. It's just, that's not going to happen.
Well, and the prices will never be cheaper in the U.S.
No, they
It
won't.
doesn't matter how many plants built here. Facts are that you can't get all the materials you need to make goods will not be accomplished in the United States of America.
No.
You're still going to need foreign materials. In addition to that, the thought that things would be cheaper when labor is higher here in terms of the people that would work in those jobs unless they anticipate automating everything, which is very expensive. At the end of the day, everything is still going to cost more. Like the tariffs are going to hurt, yes. But to move an operation here is going to hurt more at the end of the day. I don't believe the gamble of cost is going to go way down, because here in the U.S., and don't get me wrong, I don't believe in the pay people get across the world to make goods for us. It's unfair. It's unhumane. But there is nobody in this country that's going to work for what those people are working for.
No, they're going to have to
make
pay
those
them. They're going to have to pay them a wage here that is way more than they're paying for having products made abroad. And then on top, when you talked about the automation thing, a lot of people probably would move more towards automation because in the long run, it would be cheaper for them. But then they hire less people. So we still have people that won't have a job.
And won't be paying.
And
won't be buying products.
Right.
Which is, at the end of the day, it's what it is. People have to buy products for the economy to keep moving, which is, that's another tangent. I was going to talk about work from home and how all these pushes to get you back in the office is simply because our economy rides on the daily expenditures of people going into an office.
Right. So I don't see this working out for us. And a lot of people are waiting to see whether they are going to rescind the tariffs, which I don't see him backing down on this, because then people will point to that this was a horrible thing and a horrible decision.
It's going to be up to Congress.
Which I have read
some steam.
that some Republicans are trying to see if they can get together to rein in the tariffs, because they know that this is not good either. And that is like they've been getting killed in these town halls. So much so that Lauren Boebert did a fucking telehealth call with her constituents.
Not a telehealth.
Because she didn't want to show up in person, so she just did it on telephone. Then she didn't answer a question. She told the whole story about her being a little kid. Like, girl,
it's like she was doing story time with kids at the library.
Right, and that's not what we're here for. Anyway, I can't see this being good for anybody in the long run. I can't see Republicans banding together to rein this shit in, because they're not happy about it either, because they know that anything that happens that is bad is going to fall on their shoulders, because they have all the power. You can't blame this on Biden. You cannot blame this on the Democrats. It's all on you.
I mean, and whether you're on the side of liking Trump or not, you have to sit there and think that he is gambling with everybody's money. Because I think the tariffs are being used to create a trade deal that only favors the U.S. And it's a huge gamble to believe that every country is going to fall in line.
Yeah, he basically wants them to bend the knee. And if they do, then maybe I'll lift your tariff.
Right. Like the European Union is strong. And to think, like Elon came out and said that he wants free trade amongst the European Union and hopes the tariffs would go away on both ends. And
we have free trade.
Well, I don't know about that, but every president signs a new trade deal.
Okay.
And I don't understand why that's not the direction we went. Because this is just, people see that, he's gambling. I see it as a non-lethal war move, because you're still bending a country, trying to bend a country to our demands, which is what war typically is. You're trying to get a country to either stop what they're doing or take over said country.
I don't think, I mean, yes, he is definitely doing that, but you're hurting the people in this country in the meantime,
You're hurting everybody.
which is the part
Maybe not the
where
rich people, but
I think we forget that Americans have very short attention spans. Thank you, social media. But they remember what is happening right now and how they're struggling right now. Like a lot of that is the reason why some people switched to voting for Trump, because they felt like under Biden that things were more expensive because of inflation, which wasn't his fault. But, you know, we're not going to talk about that. So they felt like, okay, in order for me to get out of this, I need to vote for somebody who I feel like is going to do something about it and make things more cost effective. In turn, what you actually did was put someone in office who is going to make everything more expensive.
yeah, and has aligned almost everybody at the top with a loyalist,
Yeah,
which I don't want to move. I know this is like a tariff topic.
we can move into that because that's next.
It's not my topic, but I guess I'm going to kick it off because I'm already there.
Go ahead.
I look at people and they're like, I can't believe he's doing this. And I'm just like, I've said it here before and I feel like a broken record. And that's why sometimes we get away from politics on here, because we repeat ourselves. Because it's as Marjorie Taylor Greene said, the facts are in
The proof is in the facts.
the proof is in the facts.
It was very dumb.
Anyways,
Whatever.
that's why she got expelled. But Project 2025 was an outline that was created by many of his former advisors. It was published. It was put out for free for us to read. And it was the clear playbook of what would happen in 2025 and beyond. Many back then still said, nope, there's no way that will happen. Many are still saying the same shit. Project 2025, if you had read at least the synopsis or gotten through the intro of each chapter, which I put my life through, everything that's happening right now is not a surprise to me because it's exactly how it was written.
I mean, even if you didn't read Project 2025, I feel like enough people were telling you what Trump was going to do, and Trump himself was telling you what he was going to do, and people would just be like, oh, he just talks that way. Oh, he's being hyperbolic. When do you know this man not to do the things that he says he's going to do?
Yeah. I mean, now you literally have people in positions of authority that are 100% and only loyal to him. And it doesn't matter what we think is wrong, as long as they agree with Trump,
then it's going to get done.
it's going to get done and it's going to be put in play.
Okay. So, wait, I don't want to. Where were you going?
Oh, I thought this was your next topic.
Oh, it is. So, I want to talk about two cases. And this goes into loyalty as well. So far, they have been shipping people, these so-called illegal immigrants who are members of a Venezuelan gang or MS-13, and sending them to El Salvador. A lot of them without due process. A lot of them without verifying if they are actually part of this gang. These people don't get a day in court to, go in front of a judge and the judge to hear the case and decide on whether this person should be deported or not deported. And we're just basing it off of people's tattoos,
Skin color.
and it's just shipping people off and throwing away the key, because there have been two people recently who have been sent to El Salvador who shouldn't have been sent to El Salvador. And the judge has ordered these people to be returned. And then they turn around and say, well, girl, we can't do anything about it because they are now in custody of El Salvador. So you got to talk to them if you want to get them back. And I'm puzzled because if you weren't supposed to send these people there and you did, you should find a way to rectify it because you are the government. It is your duty to give these people due process, know what the fuck you're doing before you send someone to rot away in a torture prison in a totally different country. Pam Bondi,
Hate her.
who is now Attorney General.
She was our Attorney General here in this fucking state, and hated her.
So this case was brought, a case was brought against this young man who was sent to El Salvador by mistake. The judge had the lawyer that represents the U.S. in court asked him, hey girl, hey, why haven't you brought this man back? To which that lawyer told the judge that his clients, aka the U.S. And Pam Bondi, have not given him any evidence or anything to work with. And the judge has suspended him. Well, no, the judge didn't suspend him. Pam Bondi suspended him. And do you want to know why?
Because he's not loyal.
Basically, yes. So this is her direct quote. At my direction, every Department of Justice attorney is required to zealously advocate on behalf of the United States. Any attorney who fails to abide by this direction will face consequences, including being fired. So what that means, if you didn't understand, if you don't fight tooth and nail to say that these people deserve to go to El Salvador without due process, without seeing a judge or whatever, she is like, you are no good to me and you are no good to be serving in the Justice Department and you can be let go. I don't know why more people are not outraged by this. And one of the reasons is because it doesn't affect you right now.
Well, they're uneducated. Because right now what you have is one singular person controlling the entire United States judicial system.
Yes.
Or at least attorneys. I'm not too versed in the verbiage there, so if you're listening to this, I'm sorry.
Look, we didn't say that we were experts on justice or judiciary.
The fact that one person,
yeah,
because you went against the grain,
right,
of the Trump administration,
right,
can be suspended or fired, should be a very big cause of concern.
It should be.
Because there are three branches of government. Right now, one is run by him. Mm-hmm. The second one is run by his minions. Mm-hmm. And now the judicial, which is technically Supreme Court, but also Miss Bondi's little department, is being run by her.
Yeah. And they're all loyalists. Like, the fact of the matter is, whether you are here illegally or legally, you should have a day in court. When you commit a crime, it's not you're automatically this person. You don't automatically go to jail for 500 years. You don't automatically get deported and be put into a prison or taken to another country which you have never been to. You have a day in court. You have a lawyer. They present evidence to the case. And the state, or the U.S. in this case, will present evidence the same way. The judge will make a decision. And then you go forward from there. What they're doing is completely skipping due process, which for someone who ran on Law and Order and talked about Law and Order for so long, and they love to throw out Law and Order, they are completely ignoring Law and Order. The judge told them, he sent out an order, first of all, to turn around that first plane that went out, and they completely ignored it. This guy had a no deportation order already. Like, it was already set and sealed, and they knew that, and they still deported him anyway. I don't feel like people are really going to get this until it's not the immigrants, until it's not the Latinos.
or you have a little slip and fall and you need to go into court, and all of a sudden it's like, well, we have the best interest of that federal building you fell in,
Right.
so be gone.
So,
Like, I know that's a very extreme example, but like, that was the biggest thing out of Project 2025 was the party loyalists that would infiltrate government.
yeah, and do anything that benefits him.
Right. Because at the end of the day, we can get rid of the Supreme Court if we mitigate everything at lower courts. Like, if judges just start handling everything at the lower courts, it'll never be asked to be seen at the Supreme Court level.
Which is another reason why they were trying to get rid of federal judges, so that we don't even have to deal with this. Donald Trump can't just do what he wants currently. Yes, he can write an executive order. An executive order doesn't mean that something necessarily is going to happen. Judges can still put a kibosh on things, which is why a lot of his executive orders have either been paused or overturned. But his followers just know that he signed a piece of paper with a giant magic marker and showed it at his desk with Kid Rock in the office, or Elon's kid, or whoever the fuck wanted to show up that day.
All the sad children and desks behind him as he got rid of the Department of Education.
And then just be like, oh my God, promises made, promises kept. But not doing any sort of research, just being like, yay, Trump, until that shit affects you.
And we've seen those cases. Like, I don't want to go on a tangent, but the young lady that voted for him and then lost her federal job.
Mm-hmm. And then she took down her Trump flag and was like, I can't believe you did this.
And you know, I pause as I say this because I'm still going to say it. This election was a consequential election of people wanting to get rid of trans people, people trying to get rid of immigrants, people trying to get rid of the LGBTQ plus community, and really getting rid of black and brown people. Yeah. That's the 2025 election. And I don't give a fuck if you disagree with me on that. I'm sure there's a percentage of you that went with him because you believed his economic dream. But as I watch more and more and I see more and more the racism that is just seeping deeper and deeper into our country, that is why 2025 went to who it went.
Listen, I don't feel sorry for none of them. I don't feel sorry for the Latinos for Trump. I don't feel sorry for gays for Trump. I don't feel sorry for none of that because y'all voted for this. And to have news stories of like, oh, my wife is getting deported. She was working on her papers.
Thoughts and prayers.
I lost my federal job.
Thoughts and prayers.
Venezuelans got their green cards revoked.
Thoughts and prayers.
Girl, this man said what he was going to do. And just because you thought that didn't mean you, but this other one over here, no, girl, it included you as well. Which is, again, why I don't know why. Again, it's not, no, people are not going to be angry until shit affects them. Mm-hmm. Then you get angry. Then you be like, oh, I didn't think he was talking about me.
And the wild part about this one is he is moving at a faster rate than he did in his first presidency. He has, again, filled the government with his loyalists. So there's going to come a point where there is no way out of it unless we get a majority that is not Republican in Congress.
And then the thing that we really have to worry about is they are already trying to make voting harder. And then we have to worry about our elections being rigged or called for someone else, because this happened in North Carolina. The Democrat won. They were having a special election. The Democrat won. I think the Republicans on their Supreme Court called for a recount. There was a discrepancy about that. The Democrat won by like 730 votes. And they want to throw out a certain number of votes that either they can recognize the signature or blah, blah, blah. You know the bullshit they like to do. So they want to throw out almost 1,500 votes. And they're giving these people 15 days to fix their ballots, to get him in. But in the interim, they have declared that the Republican guy has won, which is crazy to me, but they have a majority, so they're able to do that and just overturn an election in which the Democrat won.
And this is where people fucked around and we're finding out.
The biggest thing that Trump has ever done was to sow a seed of doubt into people that 2020 that he actually won the 2020 election.
This is his greatest move.
And he still to this day is talking about how that election was stolen from him, and it wasn't.
Well, take it even further back. When he was running around with against Hillary, he was already planting that seed.
Yeah.
So those seeds of doubt of our electoral system was already created back then. And he has been able to keep it going to where people now just believe it. But mind you, we've been having elections for I don't know how many fucking years.
Yes. And the thing is, like, a lot of his followers are conspiracy theorists. So they already didn't trust the government. They already believe the government is hiding things. They believe things like Pizzagate, which is absurd. And then he just plants a little seed here, plants a little seed there, and they take it and run with it. And then we get things like January 6th, which should have been a bigger deal than the way most of America treated it. That should have literally kept him from ever running for president again.
I mean, for him to say that the kids that were protesting at universities over Israel and Palestine, I said that correctly, right? Yes.
Yeah.
To say that was worse than January 6th is really...
He said that was worse, and that people setting Teslas on fire at the dealerships. He was like, you didn't have any of that on January 6th. My dude, people died on January 6th. People lost their lives on both sides, on your people and the people that were trying to protect the people at the Capitol. Died. Nobody died at a Tesla dealership. Nobody died at any of these protests.
No. I mean, destroyed federal buildings. If one of us were to go now and break into one of our federal buildings, we would be so fast put in jail and handcuffs.
And the fact that you pardoned these people on your first day in office, and now you also floated the idea of giving them compensation?
Yeah. Listen, say that again.
Compensation. Paying these people.
Your tax money, paying the people that went in, destroyed federal buildings, which we also then had to pay to probably fix up again. They're going to get money because they did a good act apparently on January 6th.
I'm so lost. I'm so lost and confused because, and again, I blame a lot of this on social media. Social media is a great thing and it can be the most heinous thing in the world. But the way that information travels over it and you can't tell the truth from falsehoods, it has corrupted the mind of people so much that we see things and we either think it's a joke or we don't take it seriously.
Right. Like a lot of people talk about President Obama and how he used social media in its infancy to really create a grassroots movement.
Right.
And as election cycles went on, it has now become like the root of misinformation during elections now.
And that is not only the people here in America, but like this is something else that I heard on like Positive America and other podcasts is that countries like Russia use social media to infiltrate the U.S. It's not them sending over a submarine. It's not them sending over soldiers here. They infiltrate our government through social media.
It's a different form of war.
It is.
It's no different than the U.S. threatening Greenland.
There are so many bots. There are so many AI bots on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of that help spread misinformation to get Americans to be more divided so that all we're doing is not seeing the bigger picture. We're not seeing the bigger thing that's happening right here. We're all fighting against each other. It's all red versus blue at the moment and some Green Party people. But the divide is so huge right now that I don't see a way for us to get back together until there's some cataclysmic event that causes everybody to get on the same fucking page and be like, you know what? Enough is enough.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, I just see us repeating the past, which I don't want us to get there. I don't want us to get to that point where it is now this water fountain over here is for colored people. This water fountain over here is for Latin people. And y'all may think that's a joke, but they tried to slide that into one of their government contracts recently, where the contractor, there's a whole, and I forget which title it is, but it was specifically broken down that you can do things racially based. I don't want us to get to that point because I don't think in this day and age, the way that we have technology, the way that we have weaponry, I don't think that people are going to sit back and take that the same way we did back then.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not a, people are like, alarmist, but it's like, it's to use Marjorie Taylor Greene's words again. The proof is in the what?
The facts.
The facts. The proof is in the facts. I still don't understand that. Maybe she meant the proof is in the pudding.
I think she was just trying to come up with whatever she could to save her ass.
Like Lauren Boebert. Anyways, I don't know where we're headed. I don't know how we fix it. If at any point anybody ever doubted what we have said in the early 2000s, that America remains a hateful country, a racist country, a transphobic country, a homosexual fearing country. Like, we are all those things. And I think in recent times, it has just come back to light and has fueled, and it's fueling a new generation that is being, to use their word, indoctrinated with these thoughts. Where when I was a kid in the 90s, early 2000s, I never foresaw 2025 would look like this. I saw the hope that we got with President Obama during those presidential years. I'm like, wow, we're going to go somewhere. We're going to become the model country for the world of like acceptance in all kinds of races and genders. And we would create government trade that would be effective and beneficial to all parties involved, because obviously we all need each other for certain products. So why the fuck are we trying to kill each other through trade wars? But here we are in 2025, and this is not what I ever envisioned I would see as the future of America.
It's not. And so much work was done in the past. You think about civil rights and how much people had to protest, how much we had to do sit-ins to get to where we are today. And with a stroke of a pen, he completely got rid of certain laws that protect people of color, has completely taken away rights from people with a stroke of a pen. There were years and years of work done to get to where we are today. And in an instant, he took it away.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even touch on the DOE, and people don't truly understand the impact that will have beyond universities. It goes into public sector schools and everything. And I saw somewhere where schools were potentially going to lose their federal funding because of programs they have. I'm like, you're not fucking the school. In a way, yes, you are, but who you're really fucking is the student that's going there to get an education, because you're taking away the federal grant that's making it possible for them to go to school.
I'm going to switch gears to two things. Well, they're both kind of the same thing, and it is our First Amendment right, or freedom of speech. Recently, a couple of students have been picked up by ICE who are here on green cards or student visas, who participated in the Israel-Palestine protest. We also have a lot of people who are doing protests at Tesla dealerships.
There's a whole protest this weekend, wasn't there?
Yes. The hands-off protest happened over the weekend. It happened in multiple states. A lot of people showed up at different areas. Then that was basically to protest Trump and Elon. All the shit. The tariffs, Doge, all of it. I feel like that is another scary part that I feel like people should be more worried about is if you are not able to express your First Amendment right, which y'all defend just as much as you do your Second Amendment rights, to be able to say whatever it is that you want to say without fear of retaliation from the government, because you should be able to say whatever you want to say about Trump. You should be able to protest at a dealership. You should be able to protest if you don't feel like genocide is right. Doesn't mean that you're an anti-Semite. It just means that, hey, girl, y'all shouldn't be killing or trying to eradicate a whole race of people.
Yeah, and then you got Marco Rubio going down to Jamaica and
oh my God, I forgot
insulting doctors who are providing care for Jamaicans because Jamaica's just not producing enough doctors to care for their people. And he went down there to essentially bash their doctors and bash the Jamaican government by saying that they're being exploited and all this. And I'm like, so you're going to go down there, tell somebody about what human rights looks like. Mm-hmm. But yet we over here doing human rights a whole different way than how we're trying to preach out to other countries.
Imagine these were Cuban doctors.
Cuban doctors that were providing care. And I think it was the prime minister of Jamaica just had to lay it down on them. Like, we are not exploiting these people. And they provide a beneficial care to the people of Jamaica because they're just not... They're not producing enough doctors, essentially.
Now, is Marco Rubio Cuban or...
Marco Rubio is Cuban.
I don't get it.
Girl, we should just take a trip down to Broward County.
I don't get it.
And put a microphone in people's faces and just start to ask, are you Cuban? Did you vote for Trump and why? Help me understand.
Because a lot of Cubans also got their green cards taken away from them.
Yeah, and I also saw a Cuban go say, well, I guess that's the way it goes.
I don't understand. I don't understand people's rationality. I feel like I'm the weird one. I literally feel like, am I crazy? Do I just not get it?
At dinner once.
I know.
Like, I think we're the ones that are psycho.
Because I'm like, help me understand because I don't see it.
I don't see it. I don't understand it. I especially don't see it for what are we talking about again? Because I was about to go somewhere else.
We were talking about freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. It sounded like, what's your POV?
Okay, I'm gonna make this point real quick. Then, we are Tesla owners, and yes, there have been plenty of protests against Elon. We also hate Elon. Don't think that we are a sympathizer. Elon is the CEO of Tesla. Elon did not build my car. Elon did not put the tires on my car. He didn't do any of that shit. Now, I know there's a lot of discourse about these are Nazi vehicles, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that man is CEO. If the CEO of BMW or the CEO of Toyota did all of this shit that he was doing, I don't think that people would be burning Toyotas. I'm just going to say that right now. And to people telling people that they need to sell their cars or get rid of their cars, a car is a big investment.
Yeah.
That's just like if you bought your car from KB Homes and all of a sudden, their CEO was doing Nazi salutes, you ain't gonna be out here burning down your house.
Yeah. And you're not going to sell it right off the bat. Like, where you going to go? You're going to have to buy a new house?
Exactly.
Like, this loan on my vehicle is not going to disappear.
It's not going to disappear. And I'm not going to go trade in my car and then get another car and still be underwater because you don't like me driving around in my car. Right. My car is my car. I made that decision years ago before Elon went on a tirade and a rate. Maybe I would never buy a Tesla again. But at this point in time, that's my car. Also, I don't believe people should be vandalizing other people's cars. If you do it at a dealership, that's fine. Nobody owns that yet. If you feel like that is the right way for you to protest Elon Musk, that's fine. I'm going to tell you, you should not be vandalizing other people's property because that does not hurt Elon Musk. That hurts the people that work hard to pay for that car. Now, whether they like Elon or sympathize with him or what, I can't tell you that, but you're not doing any harm to Elon Musk whatsoever by damaging other people's property. I'm just going to say that blanket statement, and that's what I wanted to say about that. That was my POV. We'll go into Manny's POV next.
Well, thank you for your POV.
You're welcome.
It's a good one. I actually thought about doing that because I'm like, don't come fuck my car up. Because one, I don't want to get another car note. We've made lots of progress on this car note. And those of y'all that are embroiled or have the money to do it, well,
More power to you.
more power to you. But when we bought this car, we're like, this is going to be the long haul. And we're going to have to commit to that. So I'm bringing you something that's not political. You're welcome. If you lasted this long. We were talking about the other day about how long songs used to be in the early 1990s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then somebody else that we know on Instagram also casually put it up, I think the day we were talking about it at dinner. And we're like, how did this conversation come about? Everybody on the same day. But I'm just like, it got me thinking, I'm like, what happened to music? Like, we used to sit through 5-6 minute songs back in the early 90s. There was a whole musical opening to it.
There was interludes.
I mean, I don't know why I became so enamored with this. I do know. I started going back into early 90s, 2000s music, like SWV, Escape, all them people I used to listen to growing up. And I was like, I was sitting at my desk. I'm like, damn, this song is still going on. And I looked at it and it was like 6 minutes and 15 seconds. And then I just started looking at all the other songs on the album. I'm like, God, they're all like 5 or longer. So I did some research. Whoops, just dropped something. And according to Billboard Hot 100, music on average has been dropping from over 4 minutes in the 90s to around 3 minutes or less in the mid to late 2000s.
Songs are definitely shorter now. And I don't know if that also equates to albums being longer.
Well, some of the other things that were noticed is that was noted in that article was people's attention spans.
Fair.
Shorter. Social media has constructed our brains to want short content all the time. So, like, if we're like, this podcast is probably too long for most people.
Yeah. That's why we have to break it down in smaller bits to put it on fucking social media.
Because we're accustomed to short form now in social media world. And that's been one of the leading causes too to music, that it's just making songs that long anymore. People don't listen to it essentially. So my point of view to this is I want us to go back to old school music making, where music was delightful to listen to. What is that song that came on the other day? And I was like, what in the fuck is this? She's on that song with Drake.
Sexy Red.
That song she put out, what was it called?
I don't know. I don't listen to Sexy Red.
It just came up on my new listens. And what is her name?
Sexy Red.
Sexy
Red. She don't do it for me. She is no Lil' Kim. She is no Foxy. She don't do it for me. But go ahead.
Her latest song called Hoochie Coochie.
And that's another thing. She can't rap.
It was awful. I'm surprised I let it ride that long. But first, it was the acknowledgement in my brain of like, this sounds like total garbage. And then I look at the name, and then she's like sitting just like she's about to do inappropriate things on the album cover. And I'm not a prude. Like, I'm not a prude at all. But I'm just like, this is the kind of music that nowadays picks steam up and people find it as good. And then when I'm comparing it back to the 90s, I'm like, no, we have strayed away from like good music.
Yeah, and I don't think this is. I mean, it could be. Y'all could look at this as, when we were
Too
kids,
old man.
we didn't like our parents' music, and now that we are older, this younger generation music, we like, what is this? It's not for me. But the first time I heard Sexy Red rap, I thought it was a joke. I literally thought it was just like a TikTok girl who was trying to rap and people thought it was funny. And then when I found out she was an actual rapper and she was on people's songs, I was like, oh.
I mean, I do like her on that Drake song.
Whatever. She's also a Trump supporter. So
Oh, damn.
that really just, and I was just like, well, she's definitely not for me.
I mean, but I just miss music from back in the day.
Yeah.
And I think we just need to go back to good music.
That part. We
just
definitely need to go
like,
back to good
I feel
music.
like anybody now can just go out and create an album that's not great and become famous. And then there's people like Chaperone and maybe even Doechii that have been on the music circuit for years trying to get their music in front of people. And finally, they're getting some success. And it's like, but then you get something like Doochie Coochie, and that is like blasting everywhere. I'm just like, we just don't have a value for good music. I don't even think it's social media anymore and how we dissect content or how we intake content. I'm just like, I just think we just like trash.
Music has definitely took a hit and a decline from, we used to have people that actually were vocalists and singers who could sing. Now these people basically talk, sing, and all you need is a catchy beat. Really, it's about the beat most of the time nowadays, because lyrics are trash as well.
You just need good producers.
And then you got a hit song, and it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah. And then the same song keep playing and playing. And I'm not trying to be an old person because I stay pretty current on music.
Same. I do find myself going back and listening to old stuff only because it is familiar and it sounds better to me than some of the new stuff. But there are new artists that I like,
right,
who are actually singing, who are actually putting out art. Like, I think Beyonce made this argument before she released Renaissance, which was like, she misses people doing actual albums, because albums used to be like a complete body of work.
Yeah, now it's just songs.
Now it's just
together.
a bunch of singles thrown on together.
Right, like I was telling you Friday, like I like Social House. They were on a song with Ariana. That's where I came to hear them. And they're releasing an EP of like 6 songs. And we're already 5 songs released. And it comes out in 20 some days. And I'm just like, well, why the fuck do we have a countdown? Like, and I like the singles, but I'm like, when you listen, if that's the direction we're going as an album, like, this is not an album.
Yeah.
This is just songs put together that we thought were cute. And I guess an EP could be that. But like, I agree with Beyonce, like, Renaissance was an experience.
It's a totality.
Cowboy Carter is an experience.
It all goes together.
And I gotta say this, Bad Bunny's Debía Tirar Más Fotos is a fucking experience. Like, I may be biased here because I am a huge Bad Bunny fan, but I feel like when he creates an album, it's an album of art. And the only album that I think might be a little questionable that he did was maybe El Último Tour del Mundo, which some people felt were a lot of pieced together songs. But when you look about his discography, like, everything has been a journey. Even his last album was all trap reggaeton, was like, but it was focused, it was concentrated in that genre of music.
Right.
This other one told the story of Puerto Rico. His other one, Un Verano Sin Ti, was a story about summer and losing a love over the summer. Like, I miss the storytelling of an album.
I feel like we don't have artists anymore. Like, they call people artists, but you're not putting out art. I feel like these are just content creators, which you are putting out content, which means that with the content creators, you have to constantly be putting things out because people forget or people get bored. And so what we have is people putting out a bunch of singles a lot of the time. And then you get an album that has all these singles on it and then some other things to fill in the gaps. It's not an album. You put out content.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between an artist such as a Doechii or a Chaperone or a Beyonce versus someone who is a content creator, which is where I will put Sexy Red and like Ice Spice. Like, y'all belong over there.
That's a great way to look at it. I didn't think of it that way. It's like I created all this content. We'll see what sticks.
Exactly. You're not Sexy Red is not, and people may talk about Little Kim or I'll even say Nicki. But Nicki actually does put out, well, she used to, cohesive pieces of work. And Little Kim put out cohesive albums and pieces of work. These are artists. Yeah. Sexy Red is a content creator. She might as well be on YouTube. Like
she probably is in shorts.
None of what they, to me, produce will stand the test of time. Whereas 20 years from now, you will go back and listen to Renaissance or Cowboy Carter or whatever the fuck Act 3 is and be like, my God, she put everything into this.
Yeah. And not to leave, there's other artists out there doing it. Like Ariana's, what the hell is the name of that album?
Eternal
Sunshine.
Yes.
A lot of people don't like it, but it was truly a story about her love, her heartbroken, and then towards the end of the album, finding somebody who she feels is the love of her life.
Ariana is one of those, and she is an artist to me. And I feel like maybe her first few albums, they are bodies of work, but it was Thank You Next for me that really felt like one cohesive piece of work. Yep. And then after that, I feel like all the albums that came after that were really cohesive bodies of work. And especially this last album it's up there with Thank You Next for me, but Thank You Next will always just be that for me.
Yeah, I mean, and I was just looking here, I would go back and say like JoJo, not JoJo C. Wow. JoJo, the singer.
Hey, JoJo C was a singer too. She's an artist now.
We ain't talking about her. You will never hear me say something about her in terms of music. It's not real. It's a content creator, as Shawn has put together. Her like trying not to think about album JoJo's. That was a cohesive body of work.
Yeah.
Like that was her journal of her love life, music experience over the last couple of years. Like artists don't do it all the time.
No.
But I wish we went back to creating some more of this art. But I think the way you phrased it, which is the way I haven't thought about it, is a lot of artists now are just content creators.
Yeah. Not an artist.
Throwing it out there, see what gets popping in the clubs.
Yeah.
And then they keep riding that until the next time they throw out another content produced album.
And I'm not saying that to say that there's not a space for that, because obviously there is a space for
Absolutely.
it. But just don't come up here and pretend that these people are artists, because they're not. Yeah. Sexy Red is not in her bedroom right now trying to figure out a bunch of songs to put together on an album that are cohesive, that explains like a trauma that she went through. And I'm not saying that she can't do that, but she hasn't shown it to me. Unlike Meg, like Meg the Stallion, Meg is a fucking artist. She has had so much tragedy in her life, from losing her parents to her being shot by Tory Lanez to other female artists beefing with her. Like, but the albums that she put out, cohesive bodies of work.
SZA's first album.
There's a difference. That's all I'm trying to say. There's a difference.
No, yeah, definitely. I was agreeing with you. I'm saying,
no, I know.
SZA's first album was fucking amazing. Solange's, I forgot what album that was.
See You at the Table?
Yeah, that was a fucking masterpiece of music. And I'm not saying artists have to do it all the time.
Because they don't.
They don't. And, Ariana has had her missteps with some albums where it's just, oh, there's some good singles there.
Sweetener.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But I just wish more artists dedicate time to the process instead of rushing to be like, I feel like they wake up and like, I need to make money. Let me put out this album. Let me go on tour. Then I can go back on break.
And some of them just put out singles.
Yeah.
They don't even put out an album.
And I wonder if that goes back to just the content creating stage of like, here's a song I created, enjoy it. I mean, J-Lo has done that plentiful. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode. That was more conversational than I thought it would be.
That's what we do.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Manny and Shawn Experience. If you've made it this far, please, if you're new, go give us a follow on Instagram, Blue Sky. TikTok's kind of back, I guess.
Trump signed a executive order to keep it up for, I think, 5 more days.
Because it's not a national security anymore. Our handles are MASXP23. We also have YouTube where we stream our podcasts and all of our beautiful vlogs of our adventures. We should have a new vlog coming up in the coming days. We don't have a name for it yet.
No, but it's us going to the Empanada Festival.
Us going to the Empanada Festival. Sounds like a great title. Just quick and simple. Content creators just whatever.
Tampa Empanada Festival 2025.
And we make like ugly faces like, it was gross. It wasn't gross. I'm just saying that's what people like to see on YouTube apparently. But anyways, we're out of here. As we like to do here on the podcast. Or say.
Do something good for yourself.
And then do something good for somebody else. But right now, make sure the person you're doing something good for is not on the other side of the shooting field because, they may be smiling at your face but voting against your rights.
Listen, if you ain't got a passport, I feel like you probably should go ahead and put in the application for one just in case.
Put it in. I'm going to go renew mine after I get back.
Before Trump says he's going to take everybody's passport away. I don't know.
No traveling nowhere. Except to Greenland and Canada.
We didn't even talk about that. Never mind. It's too much.
Right. We're out of here. Thanks for joining us. Once again, we're on every other week episodes. And it might transition to just audio because we're trying to launch another product here soon that may take some of our time as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, stay safe out there, as they like to say. And, plan a summer vacation. Anybody going anywhere nice? Let us know in the comments below. We're out of here. Until next time.
Bye.
My name is Manny. See you. Out.